We have to stand against it. Come here, Clarksville, 9 a.m.
You mean jail? These are the public speakers for these idiots. You mean jail? Then you had somebody who got kicked out of the courthouse. But I want to play this news clip first to really get y'all started.
Personality known as Chud the Builder is now back in court today up in Clarksville.
Dalton Etherly is facing several felony charges after a shooting outside the Montgomery County Courthouse last week. News 2's Maggie Weaver is live this morning with what we can expect to happen in today's bond hearing. And Maggie, you were there for last week's hearing as well. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mark and Nikel. That's right. I was here whenever Chud the Builder, Dalton Etherly, was walked into that courtroom. Now, today's hearing is expected to focus on whether Etherly will continue to be jailed under that estimated $1.25 million bond, or if a judge could change those conditions. Now, investigators do say that Etherly, known online as Chud the Builder, was involved in a shooting outside the Montgomery County Courthouse here last Wednesday. Authorities say both Etherly and another man were shot during this incident and taken for medical treatment. Now, court records do show that Etherly had been at the courthouse earlier that day for a separate civil debt appearance. Etherly is now charged with attempted criminal homicide, employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment. Now, at his first court appearance last week, a judge cited the seriousness of these charges, public safety concerns, and the fact that the shooting happened outside a courthouse when setting that temporary bond amount. Now, court records do show that Etherly has pending cases in both Montgomery and Davidson counties, and at today's hearing, we're expecting to hear more about both those cases as that bond amount is set.
So then we get two updates, and I'm going to just run them back to back.
News 2's Maggie Weaver is in that courtroom right now, and she reports that so far they have heard from multiple witnesses. And according to an investigator, courthouse security cameras captured that incident roughly from 12 different camera angles. Wow. Now, so far, a ruling has not been made, but Maggie is following that for us.
I just got removed from Chud the Builder's court hearing, but I am here to say that it's probably safely a self-defense issue. The other guy, Joshua Fox, definitely attacked Chud the Builder, and it's going to be a clear-cut case of self-defense. So any holding of him on bail is total bullshit, and he needs to be released. Chud did nothing wrong. He was right to defend himself. Josh Black was having a PTSD episode. He approached Chud first and threatened his life. He said I was going to kill him. So
it's time for you to get deported.
If you ever wish payday came sooner, this might actually help. There's a banking app called Current with a bunch of useful features. And one of the main ones lets you access up to $750 of your paychecks early. If
we started yesterday, man. I'm sorry. We're not finna do that. What's up? Let's see what people got to say. There you go, Willie D. Shout out to Willie D.
Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Let's talk about an uncivilized mutt. Chud the Builder. Chud is crud. Chud the Builder is the extremist racist who goes around calling black folks the N-word, trying to provoke them into a confrontation so he can get them thrown in jail, or even greater, have an opportunity to get a free kill. You know, he walks around with his gun on him, and as soon as he gets pressed, you know, he starts going for his gun. Well, Chud is in jail now for going for his gun because he provoked a man in front of a courthouse, and he was engaged in a fist fight, and when it looked like he could lose the fist fight, he pulled out his gun. And in fact, I don't think it was a situation where looked like he was going to lose, because he was on top of dude. He was really assaulting the man, and then he still pulled out the gun. So even though it appeared to be winning the fight, he still pulled the gun out. He initiated the confrontation and then played the victim.
But that's what they
In
tried to
any
do.
event, now that Chud is in jail, being held on a $1.25 million bond,
Jail in hell.
Chud has now realized the gravity of going around messing with folks for no reason at all. Chud's white privilege don't seem to be working for him at the moment, because Chud is facing up to 60 years in prison. Judge will not give him a bond. The judge will not let him use the go, send, give funds that have been raised
And
in
why is that?
excess of over
Why is that?
$250,000.
Woo!
He won't let him use that to get out. So he's got to figure out some other type of creative way to make bond. I'm sure Donald Trump and his buddies have figured it out. In any event, this morning, Chud woke up in a bad mood. In fact, they said the bailiff reported that Chud was singing a song. He had remixed a song that you may know, kind of go like this. I think I got to remember. Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seemed kind of odd. I didn't say the N-word, didn't say chimp, because them boys in there would have gave me a limp. Or something like that. It was something like that, fam. I can't remember the exact words, but it was something about they would have left him limping if he would have said they was chimping, or something like that. Anyway, fam, check out this article right here in People. Controversial streamer Chud the Builder faces up to 60 years in prison after courthouse shooting, judge says. So, Dalton Etherly, the controversial live streamer known as Chud the Builder, faces up to 60 years in prison after a courthouse shooting incident. On May 15th, Etherly, 28, appeared in Tennessee court for his arraignment and bond hearing after he was detained for allegedly shooting a man outside of a courtroom 2 days earlier. The internet personality, who is known online for live streaming his racist confrontations with Black pedestrians, was detained on May 13th by criminal investigators and charged with attempted murder, employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, aggravated. You know what? I don't have to read this, fam. Let the judge tell you what it is. Let the judge speak on it.
In case number 26 CR 5295, you're charged in count 1 of criminal homicide, 39-13-201. That's an A felony. It's punishable by 15 to 60 years in state penitentiary. Count 2 is employment of firearm during a dangerous felony, 39-17-13-24. That's a D felony. Normally, that range of punishment would be 2 to 4 years in state penitentiary. However, by statute, this case is a charge is enhanced, and if you don't have any prior convictions, it's a mandatory 6-year sentence at 100%. Count 3 is ag assault with serious bodily harm, 39-13-102. It's a C felony, carries a range of punishment 3 to 15 years in state penitentiary. Count 4 is reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, also a C felony, 3 to 15 years in state penitentiary. Have you hired an attorney yet, sir?
Yes, sir.
You have?
Well, I have Jake Finley.
Okay. With any outbursts or any shenanigans, I'm going to set this for preliminary hearing on the 26th of May. All right. That'll be inside the 14 days, Mr. Finley.
May 26th.
Does that work for your calendar?
I can double check, Judge.
Yes.
Is bail set?
Not yet. I'm about to do that. I want to make sure he's got an attorney and all that stuff first.
Yes, sir. May 26th.
Okay. All right.
Y'all already heard this, man, but I need to hear this again. More importantly, I need to see his face when the bond amount is announced. I mean, this is gold.
Bond's not been set yet. General, do you have a position on bond today?
Yeah, Mr. Easley is on bond on 2 cases, one from here, one from Davidson County.
He's already on bond on 2 cases. He's a criminal, fam. Lock that sucker up. He's a criminal. You got to protect the rest of us. Lock him up. He's an animal.
Okay. Pending a hearing where the court could be informed and make a decision based on bond factors. I respectfully request to be held without bond until a day we could have the hearing. Okay. So the court can make an informed decision. Right now, it would just be arbitrary.
Okay.
Setting the number.
All right. Thank you, General. When the court sets bond, if we have a bond, when we have a bond hearing, we'll consider TCA 4011-118. The overriding intent of that statute now is to protect the public interest and public safety. Mr. Easley's on bond apparently on several other matters when this matter was allegedly committed. I'm looking at an A and really a super D, a C, really 3 C's and an A really for tracking kind of purposes. It's pretty serious.
Your Honor mentioned criminal homicide. I thought that was attempted.
I said, did I say homicide? I meant to say attempted criminal homicide if I didn't.
Okay,
I
understood.
thought I did, but that's still an A felony.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a bail.
I'm
hearing.
gonna set just a bond right now after we have our bail hearing. Then I'll let you make all the arguments. We can go through all the factors in the statute and see if that gets amended up or down. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to set initial bond at 1.25 million. Based upon the fact of how many people were in the courtyard, we're here at the courthouse, and the seriousness of all these felonies and his bond status.
Might be hard to
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Boy, they had a
26.
Boy, they had a
Maybe hard for y'all to see,
video about him,
that
babe.
sucker
I mean,
closed his
a
eyes.
video about him. They got to get him off the
Point
street.
$25
want
million.
to
He
talk to
closed his
Negroes.
eyes. And here's the thing, fam. You ain't never heard him be that quiet ever. See, that's what a little whoop ass can get you, man.
Yeah.
A little whoop ass can get you some compliance.
Yeah.
See, he thought that he was immune to going to court for shooting a black person. First of all, he thought he wasn't going to be held accountable for anything at all, because this is one of the reasons why the judge actually gave him such a high bond. You know, the fact that he was already out on 2 previous bond cases. He already got 2 other bonds. He got pending cases already. And he then goes about shooting somebody and trying to kill somebody after provoking a fight. He's an animal. He's a danger to society. The judge did the right thing by locking that sucker up. Hopefully the judge will stick to his guns and not go down on the bond.
Willie
If it
J.
had been me, I would have not given him a bond at all, because my job would be to protect the public. I got to protect the public. That's number one. A DA's job, a DA's number one job is to protect the public. That DA said, hey, no bond. I'm requesting no bond. So he did his part. Now, I'll tell you somebody else who did that part. There were some people in Nashville. First of all, Nashville is a very white, racist town, just like most predominantly white towns. They're very, very racist, right? And so if you go downtown Nashville, I know this because I've been in downtown Nashville on many different occasions. You go to downtown Nashville and it almost looks like a damn Klan rally. It looks like a good old boy convention
Sorry
or
about
something.
that, y'all.
And it's nothing but white folks walking up and down the streets. And they walk up and down the streets like they own the place. You know, drunk, acting belligerent, talking crazy, all kinds of stuff. It's really not the type of place where, if you're not white, where you want to be. Even if you're white, you probably would. If you're white and have some class and decency about yourself, you probably wouldn't find yourself out there on those streets of downtown Nashville, because it's just uncivilized. It's very, very uncivilized. However, there's one place, I didn't get the name, but there's a place that Chud the Builder went to that had a white bouncer, older guy. I don't know if he was a bouncer or if he was just somebody who was, controlling access. But in any event, he was sitting outside the front of the establishment, and he said that they wouldn't let him in. They wouldn't let him in. He told the guy, the older guy, that they wouldn't let him in, this honky tonk place. They wouldn't let him in. And he said, because they used to call me a troublemaker or something like that. He said I'm a troublemaker, because I, used the N-word, and he thought he had found him a buddy, right? But it was like, no, I don't like that. I got 2 boys that's black, messed them all up. So for the people who initially turned him down, refused his entry at whatever that honky tonk place is, next time I go to Nashville, I'm going there. Because, just because something says honky tonk does not necessarily mean that you got a bunch of people in there that's acting a fool, because I've been to actually a few honky tonk spots, even in Houston. And you just got to know, what type of people you're dealing with, right? So that particular venue, it appeared to be, had some civilized people in it. At least management was civilized. And also old buddy at the front entrance who told him to get on down the road with that.
I know that's right.
I ain't got no problem with that. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Okay. We have some good stand-up citizens, and we have a lot of people who standing on business when it comes down to people wanting to use racial things as a storyline to convince you. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm double whatever I'm doing. I gotta get this right. Where we at? StreamYard. Let me make sure I'm on here right. I think I'm on here right. Oh, what I did? Oh, I done did something wrong unless the internet that went out. Did the internet went out? What's going on? I don't know what just happened. Oh Lord, what's going on? We got more than one something up. What happened? It's Willie D. StreamYard Studio. Why is it black? Oh yeah, something going down. All right, let's go back to. Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Let me start back going. Okay, you guys, this guy, right, did. Yes, he should get a big bond for shooting this guy, right? We're getting too comfortable with trying to make other people uncomfortable, right? We have to figure out ourselves how to make our own lives comfortable at this point. We have a hard time. We had hard times right now. I don't care how much money we make. I get up, the less I ever made in a day is like 3 to 5 a day, right? And even more, right? But what I'm saying is, we all as Americans are having a hard time. I don't understand the deflect. I don't understand the ambush of people doing stuff like this guy, Chad, or whatever his name is. And now he was getting his cheeks clapped by a black girl, allegedly. You know what I mean? She got on here and she said that he was one of her clients. And I'm like, geez. What is going on? What is going on with our males? I don't care what your race is, but what is going on in America, right? I don't know exactly what is happening in. Let me see. Did he say lawyers explain the murder case? Okay, let's see what they have to say. Let's go to the experts, you guys.
A social media personality known as Chud the Builder finds himself in hot water, testing the limits of our rights. In this week's Ask Isaacs, Lori Tucker takes questions about the case to legal analyst Greg Isaacs.
Greg, thank you for joining us.
Lori, it's good to be here.
We are in the newsroom. It looks a little different right now. This is normally where we do our live stream every Wednesday at 1:30, and we decided to keep it in here for this segment because it's pretty appropriate when we're talking about a guy who is known as quite the provocateur on his live streams on X, and that is Chud the Builder.
You see how she tried to smooth that over and make it seems as if he's some nice guy. He is not, you guys. Not just melanated people had a problem with him, white people had a problem with him. And do you see her wording, how the wording is or whatnot? Do you see how bad the wording is?
He is known as a rage baiter. Let's talk more about what he has done in the past and the trouble that he is in right now when it comes to attempted murder charges.
Chud the Builder has a significant following on X, and he's a rage baiter. What he does is he'll approach pedestrians, use very salacious language, typically with a racial overtone, and then try to get a reaction. Chud the Builder, a.k.a. Dalton Etherly, took that little act outside the Montgomery County Courthouse in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Just a few weeks ago,
and he encountered an African-American individual that was a military veteran. They were engaging in some words. The warrants say that Etherly took a bladed stance, kind of like this, removed a firearm from his jacket pocket and began to fire, injuring the other individual and also shooting himself in the arm. And he's charged with some serious criminal offenses, Lori.
Let's go down that list. First, as I mentioned earlier, is attempted murder. Also, we have aggravated assault, employment of a firearm during a dangerous felony, reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, and his bond is set at $1.25 million. Why such a high bond?
Well, because, one of the main factors in a bond is to reasonably assure someone's appearance, but also to ensure the safety of the community. And one thing that the judge focused in on was that all the people in that courtyard area,
there were several bystanders.
Bystanders were placed in danger by this reckless conduct, but serious charges: attempted homicide, 15 to 25 years; aggravated assault, 3 to 6 years; reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, 1 to 2 years; employment of a firearm, another offense that is going to be stacked on top. But here's what's going to be interesting as this case plays out in the Montgomery County Courthouse. So if you are the prosecution, you are going to try to establish Etherly's intent, his mens rea, and you want to open up his live stream. Prior bad acts, 404B evidence, we talk about it all the time.
And the defense is going to try to
And they're
quash
saying,
that.
not so fast. We're going to rely on self-defense because we were defending ourselves during the middle of this altercation on the courthouse steps. But it'll be interesting because they'll want that salacious content in to prove Etherly's mens rea and state of mind. A constitutional battle, First Amendment versus the right to a fair trial.
All right. He's in court tomorrow. We'll be watching.
And if you have a legal question, you can send it to Ask Isaacs at
Ain't nobody doing no with no Isaac. Let's see what they're talking about now. Let's go.
Chud the Builder is getting desperate, so much to the point he's begging. He's begging Aiden Ross to pay the legal fees to get him out of jail because he can't afford it. Over $250,000 was raised in his name, but he can't access it. He's locked out. No one can access his funds. His girlfriend apparently created a new account that people are already donating to, But he's begging Aiden Ross to get him out, saying he'll fight on one of his cards for free. He's facing up to 60 years. He's getting desperate. He's hired one of the best attorneys in Montgomery County, who apparently is like 12-0 in the last 12 cases. And let's jump right into it. Quick pause, because this might actually help you out. If you've ever needed access to your money before payday, there's a banking app called Current. If you scan the QR code, it'll take you straight to the sign up page where it's definitely worth just checking it out.
The wallets, etc. I have to get out of here so that I can get verification processes to get into all of these funds. I will fight for free. If you can help me out, post bail, I will fight for free. We'll do whatever it is you want to do, bro. I need somebody with big money who can throw down, who can support me.
Now, that would be insane if this was to actually happen. Chud the Builder seems to be running out of options after reaching out to Aiden Ross in hopes that he will bond him out. Chud is in custody and charged with attempted murder of a black man. Whack 100 says he should go bail him. It's a great play. Y'all know Whack doesn't give up about nothing. Whack is about his bag.
You know why?
And I'm going to be honest with you.
Wait. Whack telling him to do that, y'all. Whack is telling him to do that, so it's gonna be some mess. It is gonna mess up his fights if melanated people come, because they're not gonna attend. That's why Aiden, they do little racist stuff, right? Aiding them, right? But they do it to a certain extent, so they feel like they're not gonna get canceled for anything. I just don't understand it. You know what I mean?
The amount of money Aiden would be able to get if he could secure this. The thing is this, though. If they get him out, you don't know what type of restrictions he's going to be on. You don't know if he's going to be on house arrest. You don't know if he's going to be allowed to leave Montgomery County. Just because he got him out doesn't mean he's going to be able to just fight in an event. There's a lot more to it. And then he could get out and just not even fight in the event, because it ain't like he can...
Hold up 1 second. If he get out, they cannot stop employment. You know what I mean? They're not going to keep him in Montgomery. He's gonna probably have some restrictions of being in public, stuff like that. But money, no.
Sign a contract saying it's gonna happen before he's actually released. But the amount of money, if he's already raised over $250,000, how many people do you think would pay to watch him fight and donate towards the fights? It would be insane. But the thing is, all money ain't good money. Now, King Yellow would say he gonna get him. We the only one that don't help each other out. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Aiden understands the blowback and how bad for business that would be. Then again, Aiden had Gypsy Crusader fight on his card. And that was very controversial because when Gypsy won, everyone called out the judges and said everything was rigged. It got bad. Apparently, certain people aren't allowed to come back to the events anymore because of what happened, and it made the Florida Commission, the boxing commission, look bad, and they picked who won. That's what it is. Their word is law. So people went against him because nobody wanted Gypsy Crusader to win because he had those cracker bolts when he was fighting. You know, he proudly displays who he is, and he's unapologetic, much like Chud the Builder. That doesn't mean it's right. But Aiden Ross would respond saying, hell no, after clip of Chud the Builder asking to pay his bond goes viral.
You bet on Chud the Chud guy? What's his name again? Yo. Holy shit. So he is on here. Can you pay his bail? Imagine the clips. Dude, fuck no. Absolutely fucking not. What the hell? Are you retarded? Can you bet on Chud the Chud?
So immediately he shuts that down. He's not going for it. And, you know, shout out to Aiden. That's a good move. All money ain't good money. And the thing that I'm so surprised by is how many people are coming to Chud.
And you know what? I have to say this. Y'all trying to act like he didn't do this because it was going to be some backlash. They don't care about backlash. This would have been so controversial until they probably would have been fighting inside the arena, because it would have been a big race, probably some racial stuff going on, right? But at the end of the day, I think you don't have the money to go and get them. That's what I think. I don't care, because you have all this luxury stuff that y'all see. He might just have a lot of assets he could borrow against to do certain things, right? And at the end of the day, stop thinking because people get the M's that they're not spending out the same M's they're getting, you know.
Defense. Even some people that I know that I've done YouTube shit with, whatever. And the thing is like, all right, well, if everybody's a millionaire, right? How come nobody's paying this shit? If it's only 10%, 1.25 mil, why ain't nobody throwing up the 125,000 if everybody feels so strongly about freedom of speech and this and that and whatever? You know, I'm just that's what I'm.
Well, I take it back.
Let's look at how much money's actually been raised.
Hold up, I forgot. He got the money for that. I forgot. I did not know that he needed he could get a bondsman. I thought like he had to pay that cash. Okay.
This is the Give, Send, Go that was created by Dalton Etherly, aka Chud the Builder himself. The goal was $100,000. It now sits at $264,000, and he is locked out of this account. This is more than enough to get him out, pay the lawyer, get some food, a nice steak dinner. This is plenty right here, right? And he has a very good lawyer, but he can't access any of this. He's completely locked out of it. So what happened was, within the jail call that came out, he states there's a new Give, Send, Go because he's locked out of the original, and his girlfriend Alexis apparently runs this one. So the goal for this is $20,000. They've already raised $16,000. This was created by Alexis Williams in the States. Help us bring Dalton home. This campaign was created out of urgent necessity. Dalton's previous fundraiser is connected to a bank account that was mysteriously closed without explanation following his arrest. While incarcerated, he has no access to those funds. The donations raised here are needed immediately to cover his attorney's upfront fees. This will allow his legal team to begin building a strong defense and pursue bond reduction right away. The other campaign will only disperse funds later for long-term trial expenses. This one addresses the critical time-sensitive costs that cannot wait. Dalton Etherly is a generous, loving, and creative soul with a quick wit that brightens everyone around him. He is thoughtful, deep, loyal, and the kind of man who would give you the shirt off his back unless you're black. A devoted Christian and proud patriot, Dalton is not a violent man, nor is he a criminal. Dalton has walked a long, heartbreaking road few could ever imagine. For months, Dalton and our family have endured relentless harassment, vicious death threats, and cruel intimidation simply for his beliefs. I wonder why. And she says, and for speaking the truth. This is the thing. If you're such a truth speaker, Alexis, why don't you come out and show face and show people who you are? Why is it that when you get threats, you become scared, but what you do puts other people in awkward positions? What he does puts other people in awkward positions. When you walk up and just decide to disrespect somebody, throw out slurs, say all type of crazy shit, and then act like you're gonna pull a gun out when that person becomes confrontational, why do you expect anything else aside from threats? Like, what do you honestly think would be the outcome? What reaction were you expecting? Despite reporting these threats to authorities, we received little to no protection. The persecution has cost him his job, preventing him from safely seeing his son, driven him from his church, and brought the heartbreaking loss of his beloved dog, Sandy, who was bruised.
Oh, look. Why did y'all bring church in this? What God are you guys serving? I would love to know. Like, I would love to know that God. Oh my God. I'm either full or whatever it is. I would like to know, why do y'all bring God in everything that y'all do humanly? You guys are
brutally killed. Through it all, Dalton has remained steadfast in his faith in Christ and his commitment to truth and free speech. On May 13th, outside the Montgomery County Courthouse in Clarksville, yada, yada, yada. We already know the rest. So as far as this goes, I mean, he even got a $10,000 2 days ago from Chud the Poacher. Now, apparently that's this guy, Alex Rosen, says, I fight for kids. And he's one of those people that go after like predators and they catch them talking to kids online, whatever. That's a great cause, bro. Fully support that. But then you do some shit like this. And Alex is posting basically all of Chud's videos where he's saying all the crazy racist things that he says. So it's like, Now, Alexis, I don't believe anybody knows who that is. And just typing in the name out of Clarksville, we get this post right here. And I'm going to clarify, I do not know if this is her. This is from 2023. 23-year-old Alexis Tyra Williams is charged with domestic assault of her ex-boyfriend, Justin Diaz. After police arrived at the scene, Diaz was able to provide a video of the altercation, which showed Alexis assaulting him by punching and kicking him in the face. Officers documented a black eye on the victim's face and took Alexis into custody. Honking out. Now, the thing is, like I said, I don't know if this is her. If it is her, I wouldn't be surprised. But we don't know. And I don't think that whoever Chud's girlfriend is wants to show face. And that's the thing. You know, it's weird because a lot of people don't know this, right? I don't even know if I can talk about them on YouTube without getting demonetized. So that old group of people that used to wear hoods on their heads, it's 3 letters. They're not even respected in the prison system. And I'll tell you why. The Nazis, those guys, they tattoo that shit everywhere, right? They put it all over them. They'll put it on their face. I knew someone that had cracker bolts in between his eyes named TK. They blast it everywhere and let it be known. Versus the 3-letter group, they hide behind hoods. And the Nazis, I don't want to say the real one because I think I'll get the video boomed, but the Nazis don't respect the other group because they hide their face. They're not standing on shit. They're not showing everyone who they are and what they believe because they're hiding behind masks, right? So when it comes to situations like this, one of the main things that I don't agree with, right? Obviously, if you're trying to rage bait people and you're expecting a reaction, whatever, you're trying to get clips, whatever, right? It's like pranking somebody. But when you're throwing out slurs and you expect not to get hit. Now, one of the people I know that is defending Chud is Myron from Fresh and Fit. Me and Myron are cool. Shout out to Myron, shout out to Fresh. Fresh actually just hit me up asking if I want to do an interview, but y'all know I just had a baby, so it's kind of difficult to pull that off, right? But I respect other people's beliefs as long as they don't interfere with my way of life, right? So I don't care how you feel as long as you're not forcing some shit on me or coming up to me and saying the craziest shit. Then you're gonna get a reaction. But let's listen to his take and then I'm gonna give y'all my opinion on it because respectfully, we disagree.
Look, man, all these hate you. They're looking for something to go after you with. So you just got to be on point, bro. You got to be on point. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that on some hating shot. I actually want to see him win. I actually think he's hilarious. I think it's funny. And quite frankly, watching all these get so butthurt, right, over a word goes to show the problems in the black community. Like they'll sit there and be willing to risk it all, lose their life over somebody saying, like, really, bro? Really? And they prove all the stereotypes right with their stupidity.
So the point that he's making in this situation is people are willing to crash out over a word, right? Where I disagree is this. If we're going by those fundamentals, right, that you shouldn't do anything because someone is saying something and you just come off as low IQ, you have no self-control, whatever. What we're doing is we are building a society of keyboard warriors because that is no different, right? You want the ability to talk shit and not get hit, no different than a fucking troll online who trolls you on a fake account, hides face, or you just don't know where they're at, or they live like 10 states away, whatever. You're creating a society in which no one is held accountable because you can just hide behind whatever and saying, oh, you're willing to lose your life and risk it all, Well, that could be said for Chud. That's why he has to walk around with a gun and grip that gun every time he says something disrespectful to somebody. He has to threaten them with his gun to pull off what he's doing. Otherwise, they would have been put hands on him in multiple situations. So I don't agree with that because you're baiting. You're trying to get these negative reactions. You're going for it. You're going out of your way to get it. And then when you're actually met with someone who's not going to deal with your shit and will put hands on you, you're going to try to hide behind your gun, hide behind the law, hide behind whatever you can, and tell them that they're wrong for their reaction to your bullshit. That's where I respectfully disagree. And Myron isn't the only fan of Chud the Builder. You also have Charleston White.
You said that I'm too non-racist. So I'm assuming that you must
racist white boy. I love them.
But you must really like Chud the Builder.
I love him.
Explain why.
I love his kind because I'm that kind. I was taught you mistreat that, like he was taught mistreat that.
But he's mistreating your people.
What's wrong with that? He ain't mistreating my people. My people go to jail for hurting him.
Well, he goes around calling random black people the N-word.
Them ain't my people.
Why not?
Just because you're black, you're not my people. Everybody in Africa is black. Sudan, Congo, Nigeria, Morocco, and they're all Africans.
But he's doing it with like random black people hanging out
Those
at
aren't
gas
my people.
stations down south.
My people is I know a crack his ass no matter he got a gun or not.
Right.
I know some white boys. If I go up to a crack ass.
What's the difference between the people he's been tormenting and the people that you are hanging out with?
The ones I'm hanging out with don't just walk up and randomly bother black people. They're real racist. They don't want nothing to do with you. They stay over here. Like real racist.
Right.
A real racist white boy ain't going in the cell with a black person.
Right.
He not going in there.
He'll go to the shoe first.
Like most white people, and like the version of being a white supremacist that we kind of respect is white people who are like, you know what, I so don't like multiculturalism that I'm gonna just live off in my own spot and just.
Well, you know what? That's actually a good point that Charles, and especially in the prison system, yeah, like being around, eating with, working out, etc. Like that's all a no-go. So to see Chud actively pursuing a certain community is a whole nother element, because if you really hated a group and didn't want to be around a group, why are you actively going after them? But then again, he's doing so to make money off of them. He's doing so to make money off of the people that he's agitating, rage baiting, etc. But there's a lot more to talk about. I don't want to do it all in just this video. I'm going to keep them.
You know what, you guys, I gotta agree with Charleston Wright. I'm sorry I had to agree with Charleston Wright. Okay, let's talk.
Welcome back to another Better Call Sexton. I'm your host, James Sexton. Before we begin, remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those wonderful things. Today, we have got a packed docket for you. I've got a THC horror story that is all too clear in my mind right now. We talk a little bit about Chud the Builder and the chaos he's going through. We use it as an opportunity to talk about free speech, bail, all those other exciting things. Today's episode brought to you by TrustedPrenup.com. That's right, democratizing prenuptial agreements for the entire United States. Check out TrustedPrenup.com. We got lots and lots to talk about today, so remember to stick around and let's get after it.
All right, Jim, back in the saddle. Today we are going to cover the Chud the Builder scandal, which
that was coming.
I'll explain to the audience if you're not familiar with who he is, because while he's not very popular, he is at the center of a lot of controversy right now. And I think this is one of those topics where James Sexton is the only one to talk us through this madness.
Intersection of influencers and law. It's just right my perfect little spot of heaven.
Are you up to it?
Let's do it.
Because I was under the impression you're maybe dragging a little bit on a little.
I'm going to tell you the truth. Oh, you called me out on it.
I'm just saying, I was told you're not operating at 100%.
I am not at 100%. I'm not at 100%. I'll tell you a funny story, actually. I learned a lesson about THC edibles last night.
You're never too old to learn a lesson about THC.
You are not. I have to tell you, I've never really been a big, edibles guy. I'm not really a huge weed person, but, I had a trial today. So I was like, okay, I'm going to help get some sleep. And instead, I tell you something. Oh, did it go? Calm me down. This will calm me down. But meanwhile, my thoughts just kept like.
He talking too damn much. Let's go to Ticket TV. Ticket.
You're watching Ticket TV. Like, share, and subscribe on your way in.
All right, you guys. Appreciate everybody that's going to join this stream. Let me see if you guys are going to get the notification come in here. And I'm going to let y'all all know what's going on right now from today's hearing with resident racist Chud the Buster or Builder or whatever you call him, Butler, Dalton Etherly, right? That's what he goes by now. Hopefully you guys, like I said, hopefully I'll get this notification. Let me see if the notification is gonna go out. Let me check it. Okay.
Oh man, y'all be talking too much. Okay, let's see what's going on with Buddy. Okay, well, yeah, this is what we're gonna do, y'all. We're gonna go into the war. War news. Let's go.
What do you think is the future? What happens in the next couple of weeks? You know, we're facing a global energy crisis, and the longer it goes on, the worse it gets for everybody, and including Iran. I mean, it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Donald Trump said the clock was ticking and the Iranians should move fast or nothing would be left of them.
What happens over the next few weeks, maybe a few months? I don't know.
No one really can control the boundaries of war. War is like a fire. If you do not extinguish it, it will simply expand.
We're here with Esmail Bagoui, spokesperson for the foreign minister. Due to security reasons, he's not here, but we're very happy that you take the time with us today. We have a lot of questions. I think there's a lot of questions in the world. So thanks for taking the time to answer them.
Sure, thank you.
Earlier this week, Iran sent a proposal through Pakistan aimed at ending the hostilities with the United States. Can you talk through some of the broad strokes of that proposal, and does it have meaningful concessions?
Meaningful concession on the part of Iran or on the part of the US?
Sure.
So when we talk about concession, I think we have to be a little bit careful. We do not want any concession from the United States. We simply want our rights. We want our rights to be restored. How? For instance, we have been under what they call it crippling sanctions for the past 5 decades. So these sanctions have been imposed on Iran for different excuses, for mainly for what they call it nuclear threat from Iran. There is no nuclear threat from Iran to any actor in the region or globally. So what we demand is the end to the US hostilities, in the sense that their sanctions must be lifted, our blocked assets must be freed and available to be used by Iran. At the same time, when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz and the so-called maritime blockade, which is absolutely unlawful on international law, they need to take measures to end that blockade. The whole process of negotiations between Iran and the US has been centered on Iran's demanding its legitimate rights versus the United States demanding Iran to withdraw or forego its rights. Let me give you an example. Iran has been a member of NPT as of 1970. Middle East...
NPT and non-proliferation.
Non-proliferation treaty. And then as of 1974, Iran was the advocate for Middle East free from nuclear weapon. And everyone knows that the only obstacle to materializing this ideal is Israel. The supreme leader, the late martyred Ayatollah Khamenei issued a fatwa outlawing development of nuclear weapon. So what kind of assurance Iran needs to give to the international community that our nuclear program remains absolutely peaceful? So what we demand is our right under Article 4 of NPT to use nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. And our nuclear program has been always peaceful in accordance with IAEA reports. So this is one of Iran's demands. On the contrary, the United States has been always demanding Iran's foregoing of its inherent right under NPT. So in 2015, we were able to laser focus on nuclear issue. They said, we have certain concern about the nature of your nuclear program. We said, okay, if you're concerned about our nuclear program, let's talk together. Let's craft a deal that would guarantee that Iran's nuclear program would remain peaceful. And the watchdog, the IAEA, would have every access to our safeguarded facilities to assure you of Iran's impeccable performance. And that was what we agreed, and we did until 2018, May 2018, when the United States, Trump administration, decided to withdraw from the deal unilaterally for no reason. And for one long year, we just waited. We waited for the Europeans, for other members of the JCPOA, Iran's nuclear deal, to compensate for US withdrawal. They couldn't. They were either unable or unwilling to do that. So after one long year, we decided to scale back our commitments step by step. So before that, we were just enriching 3.67% uranium, which is the minimum for peaceful purposes. But after they decided to unilaterally withdraw from the JCPOA, and by the way, please bear in mind that that was not an innocent unilateral withdrawal. When they decided to withdraw from the JCPOA, they reimposed all their sanctions. You will remember that they called it maximum pressure campaign against Iran. Why? Iran didn't do anything wrong. So those sanctions were absolutely unlawful, unilateral under international law. But as I said, Iran waited for one long year, and then we decided to rebalance our commitments, because no country can stay in an international treaty, being bilateral or multilateral, without being able to benefit from its prerogatives. So basically, the story of Iran-US engagement on nuclear issue dates back to 2011, 2012, when we decided, with the mediation of Europeans, to start the process that led to the JCPOA. But unfortunately, it was the United States that withdrew from the JCPOA. And all of this catastrophe we are watching today is the result of that unilateral decision by the United States.
So this might seem like a very simplistic question, but I was invited here by the IAEA to come see things and see the reactors. We saw the first reactor here in Iran, which ironically was given by America, Atoms for Peace. And I've had this discussion before. The question is, why, if it's only for peace and there's a fatwa and we can't do it anyway, why wouldn't we say we're sitting on the biggest gas boom in the world? There's lots of oil reserves. We're not going to use atomic energy. We'll use fossil fuels, and we'll get into wind, solar, something else. Because it seems very, very simplistic. But if it solves all these problems...
Okay. Iran is a big country. And as you know, we have a very sophisticated industrial base. Before the revolution, in early 1970, the American institutions, the research institutions on energy, they proposed to then Shah of Iran that Iran will need to build at least 8 nuclear reactors in order to secure necessary energy for its progress, for its industrial needs. And as you rightly referred to, our nuclear program, our nuclear installations, including Tehran's nuclear reactor, was the result of Iran-US engagement. It was built by the United States itself. And then we had cooperation with many European companies. Bushehr nuclear reactor was supposed to be built by Germans. They left Iran right after the revolution, and we had to talk to Russians. So it means that we need that source of energy for our basic necessities, for our development, for our welfare. And you know that atomic energy doesn't have only power or electricity uses. It has many other uses, including in medicine, in health. The other question is, if that's the case, so the United States has a lot of energy. Many countries in the region, United Arab Emirates, they have oil reserves. So you see, this is a misrepresentation of facts, saying that Iran must forego using nuclear energy for peaceful purposes because it has other, fossil resources. And by the way, environmentally, everyone is pressurizing Iran that you need to limit the use of fossil fuels because of its environmental implications. So we have every right to use nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. After all, we are a member of NPT. If we are supposed to be a member of NPT, and if we are going to commit ourselves to certain obligations with respect to non-proliferation, we have every right to benefit from the use of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. So I think this is really simplifying of a very important question. This is Iran's right.
Okay, so recently President Trump said that the United States is beating Iran badly.
They're begging to make a deal. I hope we don't have to do the war, but we may have to give them another big hit.
And that Iran is begging to make a deal. Do you agree with that characterization?
This characterization is, of course, part of new normal in the United States jargon, political jargon, international jargon. But we as a proud nation, as a sovereign member of the United Nations, we make our decisions on the basis of our interests, and we do not care what or how others may characterize our way of life or our way of policy making. So let them say whatever they want to say, but we have shown that when it comes to our national interests, our national dignity, we remain steadfast and we remain determined to defend our dignity and sovereign rights.
And so, on a follow-on question from that, what is the route realistically to peace? Because we seem to have two very diametrically opposed points of view. The world wants peace. I was talking last night to a woman and she said, "Why are you here?" And I said, because I believe war is a bad thing, but I think people should talk. Whenever you come, the Iranian people are beautiful people. When I go to North Korea, the North Korean people are beautiful people. You know, we go anywhere, the people are great. People don't see that, so we have to have dialogue. We have to open it up. We have to show that people, everywhere suffer from war. Okay, how do we stop the war? It seems now intractable. It seems like we're going farther away, but we're trying to figure out how we solve this problem.
I think you have to direct this question to American authorities. Did we start this war of choice? Did we welcome this confrontation? Didn't we go for peaceful resolution of this issue, although we truly believe that this is a non-issue concocted or fabricated by Israelis for a long time? Weren't we complying with our commitments under the JCPOA? It was the United States first that withdrew from the deal. And then for the past 1.5 years, we tried everything to come to a compromise. It was not Iran that deployed its forces across the United States. It was the United States that came to our region, abused the territories of our neighboring countries to launch a war of aggression against Iran with Israel. So basically, it is not Iran that initiated this war of aggression. And I think that's crystal clear.
A lot now, every day, the focus of maybe the world is the Straits of Hormuz. Maybe you could just explain Iran's policy and strategic objectives, leverage, defense, self-defense. What's the policy there?
Strait of Hormuz was open before 28 February. Iran has been a guardian of this water lane because we are very much dependent on this water lane for our import and export. So Strait of Hormuz is very dear to Iranians. And for a long time, we have been the guardian of this strait alongside with Oman as another coastal state. What we did was in accordance with our rights under international law, because in a war situation, you have every right, you are entitled legally and logically not to let your enemies, the aggressors, to pass through this strait to harm your national security and to attack you. So that's what we did. And again, you should remember that it was not only the United States and Israel that attacked Iran. The United States and Israel used, or to put it correctly, abused the territories of our neighboring countries in the Persian Gulf to launch attacks against Iran. So we had to take these measures in order to protect our people from missiles, from attacks. But we are committed to preserving the safety and security of this passageway. Because, as I said, we are committed to international law, and we want to see the Strait of Hormuz an open water lane for the passage of vessels. What we intend to do in cooperation with Oman and in coordination with relevant international organizations is to devise necessary mechanisms and measures to make sure that the safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz would be ensured. And at the same time, this passage, this water lane would not be abused again by any belligerent parties, by any aggressors to attack Iran.
Are you worried that if other countries in the region get pulled in via military bases or political pressure, international pressure, do you worry that there could be escalation in the region if other countries, are joined in and then you're defending yourself against them?
I think everyone should be concerned, really, because we saw the consequences of American miscalculation, because they didn't believe that Iran would react so ferociously. And it was not really our intention to expand the war. We did everything. We restrained ourselves. And we were aware, even during the previous war in June last year, that the military bases of certain countries of the region were used by Americans and Israelis to attack Iran. But we exercised maximum self-restraint. We warned those countries, please, do not let this happen again. So this time we had to react because the level of abuse by the United States and Israel of those military bases and logistical support from the countries of the Persian Gulf were so huge that we could not let them continue to do that. We had to react in order to counter their military aggression against Iran. So this time, next time, which God forbid, I hope will never happen. Of course, no one really can control the boundaries of war, because war is like a fire. if you do not extinguish it, it will simply expand.
And do you see it expanding in the region?
I hope not. But as I said, we have this bad experience. And the fact that the Americans are loading more and more weapons to our region means that they have not learned the lesson from the past 2 or 3 months. And they're going to continue using those military assets that are established in our neighboring proximity.
Since we've been in Iran, we see it in the news every day. There's back and forth. I'm sure you see it more than most. What do you think happens in the next 4 or 5 days, 6 days, in the short term? Close your eyes. What do you think happens in the next month, long term? And then my final question is, we have a quite large audience who's going to watch this. What do you think is a big misunderstanding from Iran, and what would you tell, let's say, the American people or people of the West, young people especially?
What happens next, no one can really predict. We wish for the best to come, but at the same time, we have learned to be prepared for every scenario. And what is going on in our region in terms of this security environment is not really something that we wish, but it has been unfortunately imposed on our region. And I think the whole international community, every decent human being, every decent citizen in the United States or in Europe needs to recognize what is what in our region. They need to recognize that Iran was a victim of an act of aggression, an unprovoked act of aggression that was inflicted on Iranians for no reason.
Well, I'd like to say this. Thank you for your time today. Very interesting. And look, I hope the dialogue continues. I hope that there's an agreement, and I hope that there's peace. We wish the best for the Iranian people.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The cops are over there. We're about to get in trouble.
Okay, y'all. I'm trying to see what's going on with the war. Said 8 hours. Let's see. New York Times.
Расчет, выйти в готовность номер 1. Привет.
It's crazy.
Время начала предстартовой подготовки.
Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. For what purpose does the gentleman from Massachusetts seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, can you explain to the members of the chamber what is happening with the Iran War Powers resolution that was scheduled to be voted on this evening?
The gentleman have a parliamentary question.
That is my parliamentary inquiry. I just want to know what has happened with the Iran War Powers resolution.
The gentleman may consult with your leadership regarding scheduling.
Mr. Speaker, further parliamentary inquiry. Are we not voting on it because the American people are sick and tired of this illegal war that is costing tens of billions of dollars? Gas prices are through the roof. People can't afford their groceries. Is that why you're pulling it? You guys don't have the guts or the balls.
The House will
to
be in
vote on
order. This House will be in order. The chair is prepared.
They so bad. Yeah, they so bad. Latest on Iran and latest on Iran tour, as Trump said, NATO. Do it. Whatever I want them to do. Oh. Yeah, I'm finna go to sleep. In the war.